when you are doing a listing presentation, make sure you stand out. Structure your presentation so that you're the only agency that's considered. And again, as I've talked about before, someone has to be the most expensive. If you're going to go in there, you're going to be mediocre, you're going to be mediocre. Go in there and say, we are here, this is our positioning statement, and these are the reasons why we back it up. And in all of my years of doing this, working with officers, when I first start with them, they say, we can't get it because so-and-so is charging 4%, 5%, 3%, doesn't really matter. And I say, let's benchmark it here. Don't try and play in the same pool, create our own lane. So let's just run our own lane and position our agency as the best service provider and do all the things I've just been speaking about for the last 45 minutes. Do all of those and the fees will become irrelevant. Make sure that the landlord knows that you're talking about investment. You're not just talking about property management. Become that person. The BDM must understand investment. And make sure you're doing a one-on-one appointment if they're local. If not, do it via Zoom. Make sure that everyone's now more and more familiar with Zoom, so make sure your landlords are there as well. Use your trust account audit as a listing tool. So if you can go back through and pull out your last 3, 4, 5 years worth of trust account audits and the auditor's giving you a tick of approval, in my agency, I had my trust account audits published on my website. So in the new landlord section, my trust account audit was sitting in there. And the reason why I did that was, and when I had a new person ring in, I would actually, while I'm on the phone with them, I'd say, I'm going to send you a link now via email. Even 5 years ago, we can do it a lot quicker now, but I'm going to send you a link and it's got our trust account audit there. What I'm going to ask you to do is, if you're inviting other agents in as well, can you please ask them to bring a copy of their last couple of years trust account audit? Because I can very well tell you how good we are at managing your money, but an independent auditor is going to be more brutal, and they'll tell you. And in all of my years of doing that, never once did another agent bring in their trust account report. Never once. And what happens now, remember I talked before about being trust? I'm now presenting something that other people don't want to present. So now I'm starting to separate myself in the listing presentation. Here's a little snapshot. I'm just going to run through here and I'll provide these documents for you, Jess. I'm just mindful of time, but these are the sorts of things as we go through. So there's 12 points. We'll probably get through the first 6, but I'm going to ask 12 points for you to identify. Give your landlords, when you're going in for your potential landlords, go in and construct what the presentation is going to be. So I've got a document which I email out before we get there and say the 12 questions you should be asking all agents about managing your investment property. So the same questions that I'm sending out as a checklist for a landlord, I'm giving into that, I'm saying use that for everyone else and us. I've already got the answers to. Okay, so how many active properties do you have in your portfolio with active tenancies? What's the percentage? Don't talk about 3% vacancy rate, talk about 97% occupancy. Talk about the positive. Don't talk about 5% arrears, talk about 95% rent paid on time. Because these are the things that people are looking for. How much rent passed through your trust account last year? Because if you go in there and say I'm managing 200 properties, that doesn't make any sort of relevance to a landlord, as opposed to we're managing $4 million worth of rent. Now we're starting to talk about an agency. We're managing $20 million worth of rent, managing $150 million, whatever it may be, whatever's going through your rent roll, you need to talk about that. What's the approximate value of the portfolio? Again, using the $500,000. This is all the stuff that VAs, I'll put in through to their virtual assistants, can manage all of this for you. But go back through and talk about the average portfolio that we're managing. Each portfolio manager is managing around that sort of $70 to $80 million worth of asset under management. That's going to show that you have an understanding well and beyond the next person that comes in and says, I'm happy to do it at 6%. We do 2 inspections a year. We use one form. We do virtual inspections. Who cares? Become an investment person. So these are the sorts of things that I've got through, and I'll give you this document later on. But these are easy. You just do these on a monthly basis and you update them every month. So this is a bit of a snapshot. How many landlord relationships does your agency manage? If you've got 500 properties and you're managing 450 relationships, that's impressive. But the next one, how long is the average management that you've been managing? So what I was able to do, and this is point 12, it's a killer, an absolute killer. It's difficult to try and track because none of the software will do it. So I had all of my management authorities put into an Excel spreadsheet to track the average management. And here's the impressive part. At my agency, we were 7.3 years average management across the portfolio. So what I'm saying, whenever I went out and listed a property, I would always go and say to the landlords, ask all the other agencies how long their average management fees. Most of them haven't got a clue, but ours is 7.3 years. You manage any relationship for 7 years, you're doing something okay. So these are the things that I'm talking about from a BDM point of view. It separates you. And these are the steps when you, and again, there's a little document which I can share with Jess. You go through, make sure you're really good at, and nail your presentation and negotiate. Explain your experience, some social proof through Google and testimonials and those sorts of things. Understand your market. You've got to really talk about your law and your legislation. Your property to staff ratios, these are important. Most agencies don't talk about that. Standards. So these are the sorts of things that you want to talk about. I would always go through. Now, we do a lot of systems with Trello, and I suggest to all of our BDMs that we work with to take your laptop and show the clients the Trello boards. Show the clients, this is our arrears process. This is our vacate process. This is our ingoing inspection process. Show them the structure. Show them that you're organised, because what you're trying to do is create trust. So these are the 12 steps, and we've just gone through those. And here's some of the things here. What have I got in through here? How well do you know your area?